Good evening, everybody. This is Daily Recall, March 10th, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas, coming from Sarnia, Ontario. Coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. And what's going on today? What's the big stories today on my social media feed? My news feed is obviously Iran war still going on, which is confusing because Trump was saying yesterday it's going to end soon, and then after the markets closed, he said no, we're gonna ramp it up, like it's just getting started, and then so it's so confusing. Like it doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. Because first the defense secretary said this morning, "Oh, we haven't even started yet. We're gonna be doing more, not less." So it's like, and then they don't even call it a war. They say it's not a war. So first you say it's going to end the war, then you say we're going to ramp up the war, and then you say it's not a war. So it's so weird. And Canada's making the news with the Iran thing, because the synagogues were getting shot up in Toronto. Still haven't caught the people. And now today the U.S. consulate in Toronto got shot at by a couple suspects. Still haven't caught anybody, which is weird. So that's where I think the big thing today is the false flags coming. But I call it a false flag. They call it sleeper cells. The sleeper cells are coming. And I don't think it makes any sense for Iran, because the public opinion in the U.S. is very much against this war. So if Iran did sleeper cell terrorist attacks in the U.S., it's not going to benefit them. It's going to hurt them, because people are going to be pissed off and they're going to want to invade, like do total war on Iran. So, but what would a sleeper cell attack, who would it benefit? Well, of course it'd benefit Israel, because it garner support in the U.S. Much needed support for more intervention, more help, ground invasion, whatever, escalation. So hopefully it's not the case. But like I said, I think these shootings in Toronto, it could be like someone he's not happy with Israel, obviously, and just decided to go shoot up, but they haven't caught anybody. Like, you figure with all these cameras, I know these synagogues probably all up their security. The U.S. consulate guaranteed had tons of cameras. So it's weird that they haven't caught one person. So it could be like just some, random anti-Israel person. Could be a sleeper terrorist cell. I don't think so. Or it could be like some provocative false flag, Mossad style. They've done it before. So, I think if they don't catch anybody, it sounds like false flag operations, but hopefully it doesn't happen. But I think it's almost like they need a false flag to get to the support level they need for this war. So that's where we're at. Canada making the news. And Mark Carney said there's no way we're getting involved militarily. Fine, like he was kind of hemming and hawing over this whole war thing, saying we don't support it, but we kind of support it, but we're not against it, whatever. Now it seems to me he's seeing some, how much of a shit show it's becoming. He's decided he doesn't want it to be a part of it. And then you got conservatives, the Pierre Poilievre and the conservatives are all for it, which is no surprise. Like Stephen Harper in 2003 wanted to go to Iraq. Pierre's a total Zionist, good prairie goy, so of course he's for it. So the Uniparty has a little bit of a rupture. So let's just get this. Look at all. So we'll start with the Canadian angle. So this is the conservatives. Like, this is an unpopular war. But, of course, Pierre's a good prairie guy, so he has to support Israel, even though it's not going to help his party. Which is the funniest thing, because they agreed with the Liberals, like the Uniparty, on in Indian immigration, bringing in millions of Indians. Transgender conversion, Bill C4, and all the transgender stuff, the woke stuff. They're pretty easy on that. The Ukraine war, they're lockstep on the Ukraine war. COVID mandates, totally. In fact, the conservatives wanted more mandates, I think, until they changed their position. And then the trade war with the U.S. Like, they were saying the same talking points. So the only thing they diverged on is unlimited support for Israel, forever wars. So that's not going to get you any votes, but no wonder they're tanking in the polls. They call it moral clarity. Pierre's moral clarity. No, it's not moral clarity, I don't think. It's moral shekels, more like it. All right. Let's see what he says. He's got his little deputy minister there, deputy leader, Zionist, Melissa Lantzman. Look at her. She's kind of...
Biggest state sponsor of terror in the world. That is why...
You said explicitly it's in our interest that the regime is replaced. Will you say explicitly whether you support what the U.S. and Israel have been doing and whether you believe that any of it is in accordance with international law?
Well, we already said that. We support the action to overturn the regime, because this is a regime that has killed Canadians. They killed over 100 Canadians. They have 700 agents on Canadian streets terrorizing our Persian and Jewish communities, carrying out terrorist attacks against our people. This is the biggest state sponsor of terror in the world. That is why we have not equivocated. We also need to focus on what we control at home, which is here at home, to secure our borders against these terrorists, to bring down energy costs and food prices for our people. And that's what we as conservatives are going to do here at home.
So basically, it sounds like he got fed his talking points by Benjamin Netanyahu.
Will you say explicitly whether you support what the U.S. and Israel have been doing and whether...
And basically, he tied his ship to Donald Trump in this war. So if it goes badly, it's going to be like such a... Like, I remember Chrétien used that against Harper. He basically said, oh, look, if Harper was prime minister, we would have been in the Iraq war, which we probably would have. And, like, this whole Iran thing is a mess. I'm totally against it. So if it goes bad, the conservatives are tied to it now. Tied to Donald Trump. Maybe Donald Trump will work a miracle and achieve all of his objectives. But if it does, like if you go by Middle East history, it doesn't look like it's going down that way. So Pierre decided to hitch his to that sinking ship because he's owned by Israel, I guess. Lots of Zionists in that conservative party. And then here you got Lantzman. Let's see what she says. They're openly saying they want regime change in Iran. Like, the Conservative Party of Canada wants regime change in Iran. Like, why are we worried about Iran's regime? I don't know. Because Israel is. That's why. Let's see what she says. But they're going to hurt themselves. They're toast anyway.
Regime change in Iran is something that conservatives support, and continue to support. We've had one position throughout all of this, and not four in 4 days.
The wrong position, maybe. So yeah, no wonder they're tanking in the polls. No wonder. Okay, and then here's Doug Ford. This dummy Doug Ford. He basically is reacting today to the shooting at the Toronto consulate. And he's basically saying, "Oh, I don't know anything yet. The police are investigating." And he said, "But my personal opinion is it's sleeper cells. They're all over the place. It's super." I'm like, man, you don't know anything. The police haven't said anything, and you're saying there's sleeper cells. So what you're doing is causing a total panic. People are going to think there's sleeper cells around every corner. They're going to bomb the subway or something because of this dummy. And even I saw some like U.S. Twitter accounts posting this clip saying, "Oh, Doug Ford said there's sleeper cells." No, he said he thinks it's his opinion. He didn't, but there came in out, it was like the police told him. So this, like, I don't know, man. That's why Doug Ford is spreading this sleeper cells thing. So when the false flag comes, people will be all like in a panic already. It's very suspicious. Very suspicious. Let's listen.
This is just me speaking. I believe there's sleeper cells all over the. This is just me speaking. I believe there's sleeper cells all over the world, as we know. They're in the U.S., they're in Canada here, and we have to weed these people out and hold them accountable.
So this is a premier of Ontario saying, I this is only what I believe. On the day that the U.S. consulate gets shot up, he's saying, I believe there's sleeper cells all over the world, and this is who did it. He didn't say it, but he implies that that's who did it, the sleeper cells. Even though the Toronto Police, RCMP, whoever, haven't said anything about who did it. So this guy's going around saying sleeper cells. I think it's sleeper cells. And it's like, you're the premier of Ontario in the city where it happened. So like, people take your word as like you have some inside knowledge, but you're just giving your stupid opinion. But I wonder who told him to say that. Probably his Zionists, his Jewish handler in Ontario, maybe, getting all the public. And these shootings, all they do is get people more riled up to support a war that's not popular. Like fear, basically. Fear will make the people listen. So here's Will Pierre saying they're for regime change. Here's Mark Carney. He says Canada will never participate in the U.S. Israel military campaign against Iran. So I believe he said this today.
Of any terrorism. Mr. Speaker,
We're saying it in
thank you
French.
for this opportunity. Canada's policy is clear. Canada supports the necessity of preventing Iran's nuclear program and exporting of any terrorism. Canada is not participating in the offensive operations of Israel and the United States and will not ever.
Will not ever. So he,
Mr. Speaker, thank you for this
I don't really like Carney, but this is the one thing I'll agree with him on. To stay the hell away from this thing, just like Chrétien stayed away from Iraq. And I think he knows stuff, Carney. He's connected. He's pretty connected, this guy, and like very connected. And he's probably seeing all the, like, you're not, what the Fox isn't showing, Fox News doing the cheerleading. He probably sees the shit that's like not getting reported. And he's like, I'm staying away from this. Until he changes his mind again. We'll see. Even though, like, Canada wasn't ever gonna, we don't have any military to go in, but even if we did, it's good. We stay the hell out of this. Canada will never participate in an Iran offensive, Carney says. All right. Okay. And this is funny. This, you notice the price of oil, the price of your gas has gone up. I've got to keep an eye on it. But they're the thing is the fear is like if the Straits of Hormuz, where a lot of that oil goes through, is closed for a long time, which is it's kind of closed already, but the U.S. Then the price of oil is going to skyrocket, and none of us are going to be driving. This guy, the U.S. Energy Secretary, put a post today saying the ships were being escorted through the Straits of Hormuz, and then the price of oil dropped, stocks are going up, and then he ended up deleting the post because it wasn't true. So it shows like it's kind of a shit show Trump's running. Like, unless he's like a genius and it's going to totally work out. But right now it looks like a shit show. And it's kind of embarrassing when your energy secretary is putting fake tweets out. And it looks like market manipulation, like you're just trying to calm the markets with fake assurances. Anyway, and then there's the idea is Iran says they're going to mine the Strait of Hormuz, like with mines, like underwater mines. So that's going to it sounds like a big escalation, right? So a lot different than, oh, the war's ending, we're finished, like that he was saying yesterday. So he put this tweet out he's raging at the Iran mining the Straits of Hormuz. Listen to this. If Iran has put any mines in the Hormuz Strait and we have no reports of them doing so, we want them removed immediately. If for any reason mines were placed and they are not removed forthwith, military consequences to Iran will be at a level never seen before. If, on the other hand, they remove what may have been placed, it will be a giant step in the right direction. It's so weird that he's doing all this diplomacy, negotiation via Twitter. It's so funny, actually. So that's in response to CNN headline: Iran has begun laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, expect the gas to go up to $2 a liter then. I gotta fill up my car tomorrow. I just want to see the gas price here. Gas buddy. Yeah. And they're bombing Lebanon too, so it's not just Iran and Israel getting bombing each other. It's spreading everywhere. Okay. So still almost at 150. It's been kind of steady the last couple days. All right. Let's keep going here. This is a good post. One of the strangest things to watch right now is people who spent 3 years saying, don't trust the government, don't trust the media during COVID, and then suddenly swallowing every official narrative about the Iran war without question. Yeah, it sucks. A lot of those COVID people, they were kind of late jumpers on, like when they saw it was like public opinion was building against the COVID bullshit. Then they kind of hopped on, and those are the same people that are falling for this. I think the diehard COVID guys know this is all bullshit. War is a racket. All right. Here's more on the false flag that may or may not come to U.S. or Canada. They're trying, I think. They're psyoping us. Who would benefit from a false flag on U.S. soil? Like, Iran wouldn't benefit. They might do a sleeper cells as like, if the war got to the point where both countries are going for total destruction, then I could see them doing sleeper cells. But right now, all it's going to do is galvanize the American public. Like, it makes no sense for them to do sleeper cell terrorist attacks. So, but that's all you hear about in the news today. Sleeper cells. Sleeper. Even Doug Ford saying sleeper cells. So I'm a little suspicious. So Here's Greg Reese. He seems suspicious too. Both Iran and the USA know that terror attacks in America will cultivate support for the war, and only one of them wants that. This is what false flag operations are all about. So yeah, right now the Americans are very against this war. Like only 28% support it. Very low. A lot of that was during World War II was the same thing. A lot of Americans were against getting involved, and then the Pearl Harbor, happened, and the numbers flipped. So hopefully that doesn't happen, because people will buy it. People won't say, "Oh, it's a false flag." They'll just start signing up for desert or Iran. I don't know if it's not really desert there, so you can't really call it Desert Storm. I guess Enduring Freedom, Epic Fury. Epic Fury. Okay. Bookmarks, sorry. So there's the Canada angle, I guess. Now, and we're doing the... This is another headline that came out today. Wall Street Journal. This was early in the morning. Trump advisors urge him to find Iran exit ramp, fearing political backlash. And so I said he has to run it by Netanyahu first. Can't end the war without asking Netanyahu. Here's Hegseth. Today will be our most intense day of strikes inside Iran. So, yeah, it sounds like it's escalating. It doesn't sound like it's... It doesn't sound like it's ending. All right. This is funny. Trump's starting to blame people, because if things go wrong, he blames other people. And he's like, based on what my son-in-law, Jared Kushner, told me, I thought Iran would attack us. So, listen to this. This is kind of a clown show.
Attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And the situation was very quickly approaching the point of no return, and the United States found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and Pete and others were telling me, Marco was so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack us. I thought they would, if we didn't do this at the time we did it, I think they had in mind to attack us. And
so, yeah, he's going to start blaming everybody else if it gets worse.
Found it intolerable, in my opinion, based on what Steve and Jared and
It's not Truman. The buck doesn't stop there.
so involved, that I thought that they were going to attack
Okay.
us. I thought they would.
This is funny. I like this cartoon, or this meme. If you don't know what you are doing, neither does your enemy. Don Zhu. So it's like, kind of makes sense. Like, maybe he's a genius and he knows exactly what he's doing. I don't think so though. But that's the joke, is like, they don't know what they're doing. They launch this war. They're not prepared for this war. But maybe that's the grand strategy. Don Zhu. Nobody really knows what's going on through his head anyway. But he's the puppet anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And this one was pretty ominous, this guy. That kind of an indication that this isn't going to end anytime soon. Hopefully it might. It will, but this guy doesn't seem to think so. He's a U.S. Senator Blumenthal. He was remarking after an Iran briefing. And he basically seems convinced that the U.S. is going to send ground troops to Iran, which was crazy. Like, basically, everybody's like warning Trump, do not send ground troops. What's he saying here? He says, I emerged from this briefing dissatisfied and angry, frankly, that I have for any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran. That's crazy. And that's where the false flag comes in, because you can't get support for an invasion without the false flag. You had 9/11, you had Pearl Harbor. Let's see what he says here.
Aiding our enemy. I emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. And I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here. And there is also, as disturbingly as anything else, the specter of active Russian aid to Iran, putting in danger American lives. Literally, Russia seems to be aiding our enemy, actively and intensively, with intelligence and perhaps with other means. And China also may be assisting Iran. So the American people deserve to know much more than this administration has told them about the cost of the war, the danger to our sons and daughters in uniform, and the potential for further escalation and widening of this war, a war of choice made by this president, not chosen by the American people, with potentially huge consequences to American lives.
Conrad Smith Gateway pundit. Axios.
So yeah, the reason I showed that is because he's a really high-ranking senator, and he gets the really classified briefings, and he didn't sound very. He sounded pretty spooked. So it's like they're definitely sending ground troops in. So when's the false flag going to happen? Here's Ted Cruz, another senator, saying, United States should prepare for terrorist attacks from Iranian sleeper cells located in the country. He says the risk of terrorist attacks within the country is at an all-time high. The danger has never been higher.
Another terrorist attack in New York City. There is a heightened danger of terrorism right now, and I will say it is particularly indefensible that Democrats have shut down the Department of Homeland Security while we are facing an enhanced terrorist risk. The Department of Homeland Security exists to guard against terrorist attacks. The danger has never been higher than right now, particularly after 4 years of open borders under Joe Biden. We know that radical Islamic terrorists entered this country, and there's a vulnerability all across this country. It is disgraceful and indefensible for the Democrats to vote party line not to fund the Department of Homeland Security right now. We need to open it up and fully fund it.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
So yeah, that's the sleeper cells. You'll keep hearing about that in
The risk of terrorism right now.
in the news. Hopefully, obviously. Hopefully they're wrong. But like I said, I could see them doing this, like these sleeper cells, like as if the war got to the point where the destruction of either country, like that was the total destruction, like burn it all. But I don't think they're at that level yet, because it just wouldn't benefit them at all. So if it happens, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't happen. And there's Doug Ford. Stoking the panic. Sleeper cells active in Canada. Ontario Premier Doug Ford said the sleeper cells are active in Canada and behind the shooting at the U.S. consulate in Toronto. I believe there are sleeper cells all over the world. As we know, they're in the U.S., they're in Canada here. They need to be thrown in jail for life. All right, good, Dougie. Unless they catch somebody for these shootings, I believe it could be a false flag, though, because usually the people, like the lone wolves or the crazy people that are, let's say, anti-Israel, they're not really criminal masterminds. They're not professionals. They usually get caught, but nobody's gotten caught for these synagogue things, and nobody's like in the U.S. consulate. It's surrounded by cameras, not just at the consulate itself, but other like city cameras. Like there's tons of cameras where this consulate is. There's cops, like, and given the sensitivity of the location, you'd think they would be able to track these guys down right away, and they still might. But if they don't get tracked down, it's a little suspicious. If they just go into the wind, because that means they're pros. Okay, so let's see what they say about it from the U.S. on Fox News. Fox News has been horrible too. Like, Fox has always been pro-Republican, pro-Israel. I get it. I didn't expect anything different. But the level of Fox propaganda is like off the charts. Like, they're saying stuff. I see Jesse Waters talking, and it's like he doesn't believe at all what he's saying, but he has to say it. That's what I see at all the Fox people. Keep your job. Okay. So this is Gunther Eagleman, who has a lot of followers in the States, and he's promoting the war. And this is what he says. Canadian authorities really don't want people knowing the truth about whatever happened to the U.S. consulate. Iran may be activating proxies, and Canada is running cover. Let's see what this guy is. I don't even know who this guy is. And I lost it.
It's too early for us to determine where the links lay or may not with those that are responsible for the shooting. That is obviously part of the active investigation.
So this guy says it's too early, and Doug Ford saying sleeper cells. It sounds like Doug Ford was told to say that.
Section 83, which is the portion of the Criminal Code of Canada that deals with terrorism offenses,
RCMP.
Determined to be that is the mandate under which we operate as the National Police Service pursuant to our integrated national security enforcement teams. But to be clear, these are integrated units that undertake these investigations. So while it may be RCMP-led, it also has the Ontario Provincial Police. Toronto obviously will have a key role in this investigation, and the other large police services in the GTA in particular will be working with us diligently on this investigation, which is now, of course, a high priority matter for us to take on.
So you heard him say he's got all these agencies involved, plus probably the U.S., like literally the U.S. whole apparatus, security apparatus at their disposal. So you think these two guys, like if they don't catch these guys like by tomorrow, I was very suspicious.
We definitely will be. Sorry. We definitely will be looking at any possible connections. Obviously, it is far too early in this investigation.
Far too early.
Them in isolation. We look at them collectively, and if and how there is something that is found in that to support that, then that will obviously color and direct how the investigation unfolds. But it is not lost on us that the city has unfortunately experienced similar types of events, extremely serious and very concerning shootings at synagogues, and this very much factors into how we will approach this matter as well.
So basically, the cops are saying, like, we're still doing an investigation. We don't know if they're connected to shootings. We don't know this. And Doug Ford saying sleeper cells. It's hilarious. Okay. False flag. Without a false flag, I don't see how Trump finishes his term. This is an unmitigated catastrophe. All right. Michael Krieger. Who's this guy? I've heard of him. Anyway, that's just his opinion, but that's kind of like I've seen a lot of posts like that today about false flags. They're going to have to think of a good one for people to buy it, because people are very suspicious now. The false flag has been raised. Okay. So that's the gist of today. False flags, and looks like escalation, not de-escalation. Mining of Hormuz. The Straits of Hormuz. So the specter of ground troops. It's all unfolding daily. So let's keep covering it and see where it goes. It's not looking good. Not looking good. All right. When's the next broadcast? All right. Friday. Is it Friday the 13th again this month? No. Yeah. I thought it was Friday the 13th a couple months ago. It's Friday the 13th. So we'll see where we're at. If there's a false flag by then. Just shut up already, Dougie. Okay. So, yeah. And we'll see what other stuff comes up. We didn't talk about Indians at all tonight. It's a miracle. All right. So until then,